Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. My main focus is on O-level and A-level mathematics. In this particular video, my objective is to solve good questions, challenging questions related to differentiation and integration. Now, in differentiation, what people find most difficult is something to do with implicit differentiation, parametric equations, that means the differentiation of such and such, and then exponential, and then trig, and then log function, and so on. Similarly, integration, everything, people find it challenging because integration is a level up. So my objective in this particular video is to solve approximately 5 to 6 questions, and then I'll be making multiple videos of that. So let's get started with differentiation and integration. Now, the very first question that you see on the screen, that is about trigonometry. This is the first part. That is about proving a trigonometric identity. And then the second part is about integrating it. So let's get started. First of all, it's saying, using the expansion of cosine 3x plus x, which is technically cosine of 4x, and cosine 3x minus x, which is technically cosine of 2x. Show that when you add this to this and you take half of that, this is what you should get. So let's get started. Cosine of 4x is basically cosine of 3x plus x. Let's apply the addition formula. That is cosine 3x cosine x minus sine 3x sine x. That's all you can do for right now. Similarly, cosine bracket 3x minus x, that is cosine 3x cosine x plus sine 3x sine x. Now, if I am to add these two identities, the expanded form, this plus this, which terms would cancel out? There is a minus sign over here. There is a plus sign over here. That means this particular term and this particular term would cancel out. And what will I get when I add it up? What I get is that 2 cosine 3x cosine x. Now remember, there is a half on the outside. So if I add this up, and if I put a half on the outside, half on the outside, half on the outside, what do I get? That is cosine 3x cosine x. In other words, this whole expression, let me erase everything that's extra over here. This whole expression is equal to this. That means in the next part, if I were to integrate this particular expression, that is the same thing as integrating this thing. So therefore, cosine 3x cosine x dx, if I am integrating it, that is half, and this is bracket में cosine 4x plus cosine 2x. Cosine 4x plus cosine 2x is in the bracket. Now this is simple standard integral. Half remains on the outside. Integral of cosine 4x is 1/4 sine 4x. Integral of cosine 2x is half sine 2x. Your limits are negative pi by 6 and positive pi by 6. Now keep this in mind that you're going to multiply the limits with 4. So 4 pi by 6 is basically 2 pi by 3. That's 120 degrees. Similarly, 2 times pi by 6 is pi by 3, that is 60 degrees. Similarly, 4 into negative pi by 6 is negative 2/3 pi. And similarly, 2 into negative pi by 6 is negative pi by 3. Now, why do I need this working? So that when I would use my calculator or use my brain to evaluate this thing, I should have the exact values. So, sine of 2 pi by 3, that is root 3 over 2. Similarly, sine of pi by 3, that is root 3 over 2 because sine is positive in the first and the second quadrant. Both the ratios are positive. Similarly, sine of negative 2 pi by 3. Where is negative 2 pi by 3 located? This is 0 till 90, somewhere over here. So that's in the third quadrant. So this would be negative root 3 over 2. And similarly, sine of minus pi by 3, that's also negative root 3 over 2. So now I have all the values with me. I can plug it in half, 1/4 sine of 2 pi by 3 plus half sine of pi by 3. This is the first bracket. Let me make a bigger bracket also. Minus 1/4 sine of negative 2 pi by 3 plus half sine of negative pi by 3. Now let us work very comfortably. Sine of 2 pi by 3 is root 3 over 2. So that's root 3 over 2. Sine of pi by 3, that's also root 3 over 2. Sine of negative this thing, that is negative root 3 over 2. And this one is also negative root 3 over 2. Now, if I am gonna open up this bracket, that's half. This is 1/4 into root 3 over 2 plus half into root 3 over 2. And there is a minus sign. That is 1/4 into negative root 3 over 2. And this is half into negative root 3 over 2. Now, because of the minus sign, this particular term can be added to this particular term. Similarly, this particular term, because of the minus, will be added to this particular term. So basically, there is a half on the outside. There are two terms of 1/4 root 3 over 2. Do you got the idea? Instead of adding it twice, I'm just multiplying by 2, but there is a half on the outside. And similarly, there is a half on the outside, and there is half. There are two terms. Let me write the 2 first, and then half, and this is root 3 over 2. So what do you get? This 2 and this 2 cancels off. Similarly, this 2 and this 2 cancels off. And you can take this root 3 over 2 common. And this is 1/4 plus half. That is 3/4. So root 3 over 2 into 3/4. So therefore, this is 3 root 3 over 8. That is the exact value, 3 root 3 over 8. And that is how we do this question successfully. So now that's the first question that I've done, both the parts. Let me move to the second question. Now, the second question is about parametric equations. X in terms of t, y in terms of t. What is the first part related to? Show that dy by dx is this much. Now remember the rule, dy by dt, dy by dx into dx by dt. If I'm making this as the subject, so dy by dx, that is dy by dt divided by dx by dt. Now we have x is equals to 2t plus sine of 2t. Therefore, dx by dt, this is 2 and this is 2 cosine 2t. Similarly, y is equals to 1 minus 2 cosine 2t. Therefore, dy by dt, that is 0 minus 2 cosine 2t. What's the derivative? Minus 2 sine 2t. So therefore, this becomes 4 sine 2t. Now, it's a good idea to double check you're working over here. 2t derivative is this. Sine 2t derivative is this. Derivative of sine has a plus sign. Derivative of cos has a minus sign. So take care of that. So now, dy by dx, that is 4 sine 2t divided by 2 common, 1 plus cosine 2t. So therefore, this becomes 2 sine 2t over 1 plus cosine 2t. Now, it's saying that the answer should be tangent of t. That means what should I use? I should use the double angle formula. So therefore this is 2. This is 2 sine t cosine t. This is 1 plus, there are 3 formats. Cosine 2x is cos square x minus sine square x. That's 2 cos square x minus 1 and 1 minus 2 sine square x. X and a or t are interchangeable. So basically this is the one I'm looking for. This is 2 cos square t minus 1. Now this one on the outside, this negative one on the inside cancels off. And what am I left with? I'm also cancelling off this 2 and this 2. So therefore in the numerator, I have 2 sine t cosine t. In the denominator, I have a cosine t and another cosine t. So this cosine and this cosine slashes off. So we are left with 2 tangent t. So another question successfully done. Now remember, P3 is about strong usage of algebra. You should have command on factorization, you should have command on simplification, anything, everything to do with algebra, whatever you have learned from in basic maths, that will be used over here. So now in this question, there was differentiation as well as usage of double angle formulas and of course algebra. Now what is the next part? The next part is, hence find the x coordinate of the point on the curve at which the gradient of the normal is 2. Now remember this thing, gradient of tangent is dy by dx and gradient of normal is negative reciprocal of gradient of tangent. That means if gradient of normal is 2, therefore gradient of tangent should be the negative reciprocal, which is negative half. That's plus 2. This is negative half. Therefore, dy by dx should equal to negative half. So that is the working that we are going to do. And this is question number 5. So now in question number 5, when we have 2 tangent t, that is the derivative, 2 tangent t is equals to negative half. Therefore, tangent t is equals to negative 1/4. Now, whenever there is a question of trigonometry, there should be a range. This is that range that I'm talking about. The angle t should lie between negative pi by 2 and positive pi by 2. So that means there are 2 options. If I draw this line over here, so therefore this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. One angle could be over here, the other angle could be over here. Since tangent is negative, that means we are not interested in the first quadrant, we are interested in the fourth quadrant. So whatever is the basic angle is, we are going to take the clockwise negative angle. So basically theta would be negative alpha. So therefore theta or t, whatever you want to call it, tangent alpha equals to 1/4, where alpha is the basic angle with x-axis, that's the acute angle with the x-axis. So therefore this alpha comes out to be 0.961 radians after rounding off, 3 SF. That's the final answer rounding off. And since there is no addition subtraction involved, so I'm just using the 3 SF answer. So therefore t would be negative of this value, 0.971 radians. That is the value of t. That's not the x coordinate. That is the value of t. They are asking for the x coordinate. What is the x coordinate? So therefore x coordinate, I think I have calculated before and written the answer for this thing. So let me just use a calculator and tangent inverse. So let me changing this thing into radians and then 0.25 and then tan inverse. So this comes out to be 0.24497. So I'm using 5 SF. That's perfectly fine. T is negative 0.24497. And now what is the x coordinate? X coordinate is 2t plus sine 2t. So that is 2t plus sine 2t. And once I plug in this value over here, and I plug in this value over here and use a calculator, that was the answer. That was negative 0.961, correct to 3 significant figures. So that is the second question that we have done related to differentiation, and differentiation was that of in the form of a parametric equation. Now let me move to the third question. So I think in the first video, I'll be plugging in 3 questions, because 3 questions would be the perfect for anyone to understand it peacefully and then move on to the next one. So now what is this question about? This question is about partial fractions. And with partial fractions, what else is needed? What else is needed? It could be a binomial question, or it could be a question related to integration. Now, first of all, what is the first thing that we should look in any question related to partial fraction? We should look at the numerator. We should look at the denominator. The highest power of the numerator is 2. That's the x square term, and after multiplication, it's x cubed. Therefore, it's a proper algebraic fraction. That means no long division is needed. It's proper. Just get started. What is the second thing? The dominant power over here is x squared plus 9, which is not factorizable. If you can factorize it, that would break up into linear factors, but this is not factorizable. Therefore, this is case number 2. That is denominator with a quadratic factor. So therefore, what will you write? You will write 5x squared plus x plus 27 divided by 2x plus 1, x squared plus 9. And on top of the linear factor, you will write a constant. On top of the quadratic factor, you will write an expression bx plus c in brackets, so that when you're taking the LCM, you don't go wrong. So therefore, this is 2x plus 1. This is x squared plus 9. A is multiplied with x squared plus 9. Bx plus c in brackets is being multiplied with 2x plus 1. Both the fractions are identical. The denominators after LCM are exactly the same. Therefore, the numerator should equal the numerator. So therefore, 5x squared plus x plus 27, and P3 is about a lot of hard work. There are no shortcuts as such. X squared plus 9, bx plus c multiplied with 2x plus 1. So now what should I do? There is a proper way of doing solving an identity for partial fraction related to the quadratic case. What is that? Make this thing 0 so that this whole thing becomes 0. What value will make this 0? So let x is equals to minus half. Therefore, 5 into minus half square and half and 27. That is equals to 8 times minus half square. That's 1/4 plus 9. Now, let's use a calculator. Let's do some calculation. And what happens is that you get the value of a coming out to be 3. Rewrite this expression again. 5x squared plus x plus 27 is identical to 3 times x squared plus 9. Bx plus c in brackets multiplying with 2x plus 1. What is the second objective? The second objective is get rid of b and find c. What value will make b disappear? Let x is equals to 0. 27 is equals to 3 times 9. And this is c multiplied with 1. And you do the calculation. So therefore, c comes out to be 0. Yes, that happens. This is 27. This is 27. In a quadratic case, one of the constants can come out to be 0. So c came out to be 0. So let's rewrite the expression again. 5x squared plus x plus 27 is identical to 3 times x squared plus 9. And bx plus 0 multiplied with 2x plus 1. Now choose any other value which you have not used before. You cannot use minus half, you cannot use 0. I think 1 is a beautiful number. So let x is equals to 1. So 5 plus 1 plus 27. That's 3 times 1 plus 9 is 10. This is b multiplied with 2 plus 1 is 3. So 27 plus 5 is 32 and 33. And therefore b comes out to be 1. So don't leave the answer as it is. Write it where it belongs. It belongs on this fraction. So a, the value of a is 3. The value of b is 1. The value of c is 0. So 3 over 2x plus 1. Let me write it over here. 3 over 2x plus 1. And bx plus c. So c is 0. So 1 over x squared plus 9. 1 over x squared plus 9. And what else do we have? 1x, not 1. 1x over x squared plus 9. And c is 0. So this is the expression. So let me rewrite it where it belongs. And it also belongs in the second part. So that is the answer for this part. Now what does it say? Hence find integral, giving your answer in this form. Now what is the integral of this? Integral of this. What are the techniques that we'll be using? Plugging in the limits comes later. For this one, rule number 1 of log is used. What is rule number 1? That is, we have 1 over ax plus b dx integral. That's 1 over a ln ax plus b plus a constant of integration, which is not applicable over here because we'll be plugging in the limits. What is rule number 2? Rule number 2 is you have the numerator and you have a denominator. And if the numerator is the derivative of denominator, then the integral is ln of denominator. Again, c is not applicable over here. So therefore, we have 3 integral 1 over 2x plus 1 dx. Let me separate it. And we have x, and this is x squared plus 9 dx. This limit is 0, 4. This limit is 0 and 4. I can collect them later. So now this is 3, 1 over 2, ln 2x plus 1. And if there is a need, then we will be putting in the modulus sign. And this is what is missing. 2 is missing. Balancing is with a half. So this is half ln x squared plus 9. And don't forget to put the limits. Now I'm putting the collective limits. So therefore, this is 3 over 2 ln 8 plus 1 is 9. And this is half ln 16 plus 9 is 25. Double check. Minus 3 over 2 ln 1 plus half ln 9. Now, the good thing is ln 1 is 0. So what am I left with? 3 over 2 ln 9 minus half ln 9 plus half ln 25. Now what I can do is that, let me see what is the format that I need the answer is in terms of ln. So let me first simplify these two. 3 over 2 minus half. This is ln 9 plus half ln 25. This is ln 9 and this is ln 25 raised to power of half. That means the square root. This is ln 9 and this is ln of 5. And since there is a plus sign, the two numbers multiply. So therefore, the final answer is 9 into 5, which is a beautiful ln 45. So here I would end my video number 1 for differentiation and integration collective questions of P3. See you soon. Take care.